Their service is a part of America's history. Join us as we step into their story.
Well, I joined the military 15 July 1987, and I was my first duty station was Fort Knox, Kentucky. I was a combat engineer. I was assigned to the 19th Engineer Company, and actually I was assigned to the 5 Double Deuce Engineer Company out of the 19th Engineer Brigade or Battalion, and I was assigned to a 2nd Platoon. I was a combat engineer. We did things like build bridges. Combat engineers also are responsible for breaching minefields. We led the way for some of the armored tanks to get to the places that they needed to get to in order to accomplish their missions. My favorite part of being a combat engineer, and it might sound funny to some people, was blowing up stuff. I loved the demolitions part of combat engineer. That was my favorite thing. A Bangalore torpedo was something that you put in a wire obstacle, and you would detonate it, and it would blow it up. We would used to make Bangalore torpedoes with not concertina wire, but we'd make it with U-shaped pickets, 100-mile-an-hour tape, and C4. The first time I was in Iraq, I did logistics operations with the 101st out of Fort Campbell. I was actually stationed at Fort Bragg, but we were assigned to the 101st as a support element for them. And we basically expedited all their supplies that they needed. We actually got into Kuwait February 2003 when it initially the war initially started. Right. Once all the action was over, we migrated up to Mosul, set up operations on Mosul Air Force Base, and we basically established that FOB. Civil affairs, I worked a lot with civil affairs. I used to go out with them to the sites where they actually brought the people in, and they listened to their story, and then they just determined whether or not they had a claim. So I did a lot of that. So I had interaction with the Iraqi people, because as I traveled that country, especially the second time I was there, as I traveled that country, you saw how some of the people in charge were living. So me personally, I felt that we were doing a good thing for the people, trying to liberate their country so they can, live in a more democratic society. But Talil, my mission in Talil was to run convoy security. So quite a little bit different mission than I had the first time, and a little bit more, dangerous. So it was me, my driver, my gunner, and then one of my E5s that was going to be one of the TCs for one of my gun trucks. We were embedded into a convoy. We were the 4th gun truck in this convoy. The convoy, we were set to go from Talil all the way up to, I think we made several stops. We were going way up north to where the headquarters was for the 13th. And Anaconda, it was Camp Anaconda, that's what it was called. And that was where the general was, the commanding general. And so we were escorting supply vehicles up there. So we started off the convoy. We always convoyed at night. We would leave anywhere between 9 and 11 p.m. We go out one of the entry control points, and I'll never forget this. It was ECP-4 is where we were going out, the back part of BIOP. I was in the middle of the convoy, the 4th gun truck. Typically, the middle of the convoy is typically the safest part of the convoy because they typically, either hit the front of it to create some type of, duress and all that stuff, and then, so thought we were good. We're heading out the gate, and I had 2 915s in front of me because we were escorting the 915 supply lines, which is a tractor and trailer truck that pulls like S&Ps and and so we were escorting those. And as soon as we got out the gate, Not the 915 in front of me, but the one in front of that. Boom! And that's all we saw was a big, loud boom, and it was an IED. It went off. And so the vehicle in front of me, the one in front of that got hit. It blew the hood completely off of that vehicle. But they maintained and they kept going like they were supposed to. Get out of the kill zone as quick as possible. Well, the vehicle in front of me froze. I mean, I can understand. I mean, that's something that you just, just don't expect. And so they froze, and then once they regained their composure, yes, they continued, and we continued to follow, and the rest of the convoy behind me. Problem is, they missed their turn. The vehicle that got hit made their turn and got up on the overpass and stayed with the rest of the convoy. They missed their turn. We're going downtown Baghdad. We made the best of it. The 12 months. We had some ups and downs. We had some people get injured seriously, and but one thing I can say is my soldiers came together as a group, and they really took care of each other. And that's what it takes when you're in a combat situation like that. I ran quite a few convoys up and down the dangerous roads. I mean, we went into some really scary areas. I mean, dark, you can't see anything. There's nothing but trash everywhere. I mean, and you have to, we're driving at like 20 miles an hour, and a trip that would probably take 20 minutes took us 4 hours. When I came back after my second tour, I actually got promoted in Iraq. I got promoted from E-78 in Iraq. I came back. I went to work at a transportation battalion I was operations NCOIC. So I stayed there for about 10 months doing that, and then I basically retired after that.